This is GenINC and what I think. Today's blog, I decided that society needed to just clear up interactive games, and I wanted to clear it up, just the definition, the basics, before I went on to things like development, theory, and social aspects, and explaining all of that. So we're going to pretty much start with the origins. And a clear definition of what an interactive game is. It's a video game on an electronic device that involves interaction with a user interface to generate visual feedback on a video device. The results achieved at various stages of the game is determined in response to decisions. So to actually use normal people talk, if you ever played Diablo, I know it's kind of an old game, but it was the love of my life for about 8-ish years. And let's say you were an assassin, or you raised the dead, or you were a sorceress. Any choices that you made at any stage, if you were in like the east or in the west, and if you made just a simple choice to pick up a key, it would further you on, perhaps later on in the game, give you results made by personal decisions. The earliest examples are from the late 1940s, 50s. It started off in the 40s, but a very small beginning. Eventually, in the 60s, it sort of started taking off, but less so as numbers like now. Like, absolutely not. It was sort of considered like the Paleolithic age, let's say in the 60s, for the electronic industry and electronic gaming industry, excuse me. And because computer hardware was kind of hard to access by the public. So you'd really only find it on mainstream university computers in the US, and games were a hobby for individuals who between studies just wanted to develop something that would be interesting and just work with different pieces, and eventually they started to come up with things. The first influential computer game is Space War. It was developed by a group of students at MIT, and what it is it pits two human beings together. Each has like the control of a spacecraft capable of firing missiles, and at the same time they have to deal with a star in the center of the screen that's a hazard for both aircrafts. So obstacles now beyond just trying to compete with your opposing player. That's very common to our games today. By the 1970s, computer and video game development split into many areas. So you had arcade games, handhelds, and home computers, but just like I said, like very small number. The popular arcade games that our parents are very familiar with is Pac-Man, Pong, Asteroids, and Space Invaders. So I thought what would be cool was just to explain some of the words you hear gamers use, both in film and in real life, just to give you a better idea and an understanding for why they're using these words. So, platform and system, that these words are interchangeable. It's a specific combo of electronic or computer hardware with low-level software, which allows a video game to operate. So this pretty much separates into 4 different categories. Sort of vague, and it's very common for games to bridge back and forth or together, like you have different parts to it. So it can either be a PC game or handheld, and I'll explain that right now. A PC game refers to a personal computer game. So going to your desk and using your computer and putting in Diablo. I know, I love Diablo. It can get annoying. Put the disc inside. This is your personal computer, so that's a PC game. A console game is anything that can be played on the likes of Xbox and Wii while connected to a TV or a computer monitor, any sort of visual monitor. A handheld gaming device, it's rather obvious. It kind of implies that it's in a user's hands. And this can be like on the iPhone, there are numerous games. One of them that's really fun is the Tug of War, where you and your friend compete by pressing buttons continuously. It can get rather frustrating and rather competitive and very intense in your college cafeteria, but it's a lot of fun. And then the fourth one is the arcade game. It's played on a very specialized device that is typically designed to play only one game, which you sometimes have to pay for depending on where you're at. And it's encased in a special cabinet. So that big thing, that's your special cabinet for a arcade game. Don't forget that just because a device has screens and the ability to play games, it's not necessarily a dedicated video game machine. So mobile phones, PDAs, and graphing calculators. Yes, our math teacher tends to get really mad when we do that a lot. Things happen. So The genre can identify the method of gameplay, types of goals, art style combinations, and much more. There are various ways to describe something using genre. A whole other way to classify games is into 3 categories: core, casual, and serious. So core games is pretty much when you see people running at 15 hours, playing one game intensely, and perhaps eating very little and doing very little homework, but they're still a lot of fun. And they're defined by their intensity, depth of play, or scale of production involved in the creation. And it can include games across a wide spectrum of genres. So anything like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Core games are considered very demanding, so it takes out a lot of time to get through the stages and levels to actually achieve something in the end. Casual games, so this could be just a pre-example is Farmville. It's something where you get in, get out, get satisfied. That sounds really bad. It's easy to access and simple to understand, so you can grasp the rules really quickly. It also allows you to just play like solitaire. So let's say your English teacher is walking by, you can just close it and no big deal. You didn't lose hundreds of hours of work. Not that I do that. There are serious games, which usually convey information or a learning experience of some sort to the player. So don't misinterpret this as tutor programs or educational programs. That's not what it is. It's just generally made for reasons beyond simple entertainment and may include works from any given genre. So an example, it's from 1982, but still used today, is the Microsoft Flight Simulator. And that pretty much gives you an idea of a serious game. So my next vlog, perhaps it'll be a video vlog because these are kind of fun and I love talking, not just because I like hearing my own voice. And it's, actually no, it kind of is. I'm going to shut up. My next vlog will discuss development theory and the social aspects of video games because I really love the psychology of video games. Very much due to a recent Geek Girl dinner that I was at, the speaker, Marie-Jo Leroux, discussed the braining, like the mentality behind computer games these days, and it's very interesting, and I'm going to go into greater depth. So stay tuned. This is GenINC, and what I think.